What's up, guys? Vince Reddy here. Time for another attempt of One Piece. Talking about One Piece arc with me, of course. But you know what? You guys are in good hands because I just finished Skypiea. And it was good to the point where actually I already saw a bit of after Skypiea being, the prison arc. But yeah, other than that, I already spoiled it. Great. By the way, there's spoilers for some of these arcs, just letting you know. I hope that's not a surprise. Also, if you hear something in the background, something that I usually would say stuff like, oh, there's like some people doing lawn mowing or my neighbors. But this time, yeah, I'm playing Animal Crossing. I just discovered the whole day cycle thing where it's like operated in real time, and yeah, this GameCube version of Animal Crossing, like, you have to, it takes a while for it to actually be, morning, because it'd be night, it'd be AM in the game. So yeah, also in a house where I have my train tracks or something like that, if stream coming soon. But other than that, let's talk about that One Piece Skypiea. And this arc itself was, just the land and beyond it, and also seeing my perspectives uh from like biblical, or scriptures or something, or at least me being from Christian school. uh yeah, this one is pretty much, it was a fun and very intriguing arc, and hopefully I get to, I'm gonna review this in such a short amount of time because I'm busy today, and I really am not that good when it comes to ever talking about anything One Piece, because it'd be so many episodes and I just be lost in just the amount of episodes that I'm in, like a sea of them, and you can only freaking fish or just pull whatever you can from it. But hopefully I got a good amount of it because again, I finished it recently, and here I am talking about it. And this is my, I guess, attempt to do so. So pretty much during the time when they were uh like escaping Arabasta, and pretty much like Robin has joined their team, aka Wednesday. And I like how Robin's, you can tell that she's unfamiliar with most of the crew members, knowing that they would call him like Long Nose, and the Straw Hat Boy, or the Navigator, like, oh, Navigator, or like Swordsman, or stuff like that. And it's understandable. It feels like, I already knew this because I already saw Water 7, and that was actually the first arc I ever reviewed. And the reason why I'm reviewing, like, Skypiea and catching up to it, even though I finished Fishman Island a few weeks ago, is that there was a time skip that I did from a long time. Like pretty much Water 7, which was like, 2 years ago, that I actually reviewed. It was like huh. It's like 2 years ago, being 2021, and I just reviewed it like in 2022, like beginning of it, and which was last year. So that was actually the first arc that I have ever reviewed in this channel. So for this one, this is actually before that, and it's from just, maybe there was another arc after this. I mean, there already is. I saw like a little glimpse of like the prison arc or something, but there's probably something after, you know, definitely after, like, that as well. So this is just like a somewhat of a, like, a sweet return, just me understanding like what is behind Water 7, other than like what's after, because I already seen and reviewed Water 7, but I never seen Skypiea, and I heard so much about it. And yeah, this is just my ways of talking about it, aka talking about what's memorable, what stands out, I guess. So one of them was basically just discovering, uh what is it, Gia? This island, before going into like the, or basically just, the island itself, but you know the place where we discovered Blackbeard, and how he's like just this moving character that, again, I'm already familiar with, because after seeing a bunch of these and also being introduced by the Blackbeard pirates, I was already like, yeah, I think I already know them. And also Bella, I think that's his name. Yeah, I also I almost forgot. I'm like, what is his name? His name is Bella, or Bell, or something, Bell, or whatever it is. And it's funny because Bells, That's gonna be a reference later, at least, or a bell. And yeah, the Aegis got smothered by Luffy just easily. Just just a little something, a little warm up before we get into the heavy stuff, aka Skypiea. So yeah, that was cool. And seeing Nolan's son, which that's what I'm gonna call him because I kind of forget his name. One with the acorn head, and that was like usually underwater swimming, trying looking for the Golden City around his island. But yeah, we're introduced to him and basically the story about his dad, aka Liar Nolan, and that's pretty much how they, especially how, like, what is it like? Pretty much, like, I don't know how they actually got up there. I believe that Luffy actually heard something from Wednesday, aka Robin, that he knew about like this whole city of like gold or something, or this like bell or whatever it is. But whatever he said, said something like he wants to go up there and whatever it cans, which is basically later on leading up to the knockup stream where he rides the Mary all the way up there. Which I'm trying to think like what damages that actually affected for the Mary, but it must be like pretty much a lot. But thank goodness they had like wings for the Mary to actually fly up there, and while being chased by Blackbeard's pirates, that's for sure. And this is just like a scene that where they went up, and also they're introduced a new world where at first it felt breathtaking when I saw it, like the skies and everything like that. There's just something about these. Not only that, but it's also nostalgic because we're talking about before the 2 year of One Piece. This is just like old school One Piece, but this is before that year. Like pretty much compassing time of like before Sabaody. So, we're just hearing this land, seeing the sky and everything in Oda's art, and also just this 90s style, almost nostalgic piece of seeing the sky as they almost got attacked by one of the upper yard natives, and also saved by none other than God or Godfall. Pretty much, he doesn't really want to be called but God, but I mean, if anything, he felt like declining more of a god as it is. But this time, it's pretty much like without his like helmet or anything. And yeah, they saved him. They gave him like this whistle to call for like if they need emergencies or whatever it is. And yeah, that's when they left. And pretty much others just still question like what is he riding, which it was hilarious. But later on, they went through the gate to actually leads to Skypiea, and this one just pretty much like it you need a payment for to go through. We're just is like what was it, like a certain amount of berries which they don't have, and I think they said something where the lady just let them free to go up there thanks to like an octopus or something like that actually rides up this like sky to all the way to the Skypiea or the Sky Island. And yeah, that's just, me recapping some of the things is ridiculous. What am I doing? I'm supposed to review by actually just talking, or just whatever is memorable from this particular arc, because like I knew that when we're introduced to Anaru, that was something that was like, like I knew this guy just like, I don't know, he just seems sleazy, but also, yeah, this is obviously our antagonist, and he's treated as a god or something like that. And you would almost picture like a lot of people, like a lot of people where he's at, where he's just like lounging up there. And yeah, pretty much he is the reason source of why certain people were killed on in the one of the Sky Islands, because they didn't praise him, or they didn't bless him. And that was like, just like, him having this God complex or something. He needed to be stopped because there was almost like a lot of damages. And you know how, and I know I'm very familiar of how One Piece goes about their enemies when it comes down to just like the levels that they're willing to take. And for Anaru, I, even though that his electricity powers didn't really affect much for the crew or anyone else as much as I like to think so. Like it pretty much like everyone was still alive. Like, that's a little spoiler. Of course, I'm gonna say spoilers in this one because, well, Skypiea is like years old. Like at this point, it's like freaking decades. So, and most of you guys that are sub to my channel are not fans of One Piece, so I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, just like if you get electrocuted, it just doesn't affect you as much, I guess, or it does. But also, it's pretty much just like, you get electrocuted and then you're okay later. Which is, for me personally, I never been electrocuted. I know, I'm missing the experience. But still, is that really true? Like, they're supposed to die from electrocution. Even Conus, that's just kind of crazy to think that he just got beyond electrocuted and he's just okay. I was like, yes, I'm alive. Just later on as a showcase. So that's always like something interesting of just Anaru, which I'm not surprised because we're still in the beginning arcs, but still, I guess Anaru is not that powerful if he can't really kill anyone with his powers. He can only electrocute them, and they can only die for a certain amount of time, but then they're alive like 50 minutes later, like when, almost like they took a nap or whatever. It's kind of like just crazy, but yeah, and also just being introduced to Wiper and his what he stands for, his character, and just what the natives does. Thanks to Calgara. That whole flashback of Calgara and Nolan was something else memorable as well because the true story of Nolan runs deeper than really what the whole island really was. Like you just hear it. If I wanted to hear the history of the island itself, that would be cool as well. But also how it ended up there is just like, because of a knockup stream or something like that. It's just like crazy to think about. This half house that pretty much just launches up from that particular location, and it's like, it's One Piece just craziness. Okay, that's for sure. And but in a cool way because just like the idea of these knockup streams existing just sort of brings a lot of possibilities, and the fact that they made it up there, like I guess for Luffy would be sane if he had that kind of ambition just to go wherever and possibly almost dying, but at the same time not dying, but still going around to really live up your dream is inspiring. This island itself really has the amount of history behind it, as it's even though it's being destroyed thanks to Eneru and this other guy, and you just see Robin just not wanting that, not gonna have that, and also just discovering the poneglyphs later on, especially reading through it for the people that they saved was in was a cool side, but also the Golden City, like just seeing what this place was and also comparing the contrast of just that and also like Nolan's flashback, which is something I skipped by. I apologize. I'm all over the place. That's One Piece reviews for you. But yeah, this island, it's itself that is from the history behind like Calgara and Nolan and their relationship, and also just how this whole island itself just sort of is reminiscent to like two races connected together. It's the same thing with the fishmen. Fishmen people is that you have two different people of or different races or something like that, and connecting. Even though it's not really about race or anything like that, it's more so about friendship and living just understanding where you come from, because that's what I got from this particular art is that you're understanding like where these people come from, and also like the Skypian angels, and also just knowing like who they are, even though their land is almost destroyed, but it's like by Anaru, this earlobe with drums in the back. I'm just like confused about the design because what is Anaru supposed to be? If anything, what is his race? Ears and like there's some maybe some ancient like that he's supposed to be portrayed as, but I don't know what he is. It's just like a crazy guy, I guess. just shirtless and just destroying the world. Which I try to understand, like, what, why is he doing this? What is his power? All for a bell for like that he wants to steal or something like that. And he keeps saying like, I have no use for these. Like, like I'm just like, I don't understand why he's still alive after that. It's like he's supposed to be knocked out thanks to Luffy and pretty much knocking him out, and how it doesn't affect rubber, which is something that I guess is a real thing. Like, I guess when it comes down to electricity, it doesn't affect rubber, and I'm like, I didn't know that was true. Is it true? I mean, shoot, I didn't do the science for that. I didn't really have like a rubber armor protecting me from electricity and the thunderstorms. But hey, you know what, Luffy, just knock him out, and that's all that matters, because that's pretty much most of, like, there is just like certain like lengths that Luffy's willing to go through with this golden ball, just like attached to him. Like, for me, I would just call it a nap. But for Luffy, he just went all in, just try to get even with Anaru, and he did. And it's just like this visceral, just like victory. It's like, yes, like just all this power that he has. And of course, he's the protagonist, but still, the way he goes about it, you would think he would just fall. He could easily fall into the ground and just like, oh, we gotta start this whole thing again. I don't know how you get up there when your crew just cut down the freaking giant jack, the beanstalk, which is, I'm trying to understand the reference behind that, but that's where basically the other half of the island landed. But yeah, this you cut the beanstalk. That's only your chance of actually reaching this big ship that Anaru has set up, which is big ship. Like, I don't know how he just made it by himself, I guess. Or there was people that working for him. There was angels working for him to actually build a ship under Anaru's rule, but he successfully had it made or something. And you got like, there was just like moments here and there, especially almost seeing Nami getting killed by Anaru's electricity or something. Thank goodness, for Sanji's love for Nami, he was saved, and also a little help from Usopp as well, which two of them did their diligence of actually protecting Nami, or actually trying to get him out there or whatever. Because Nami was like, in this zone of just like, being stuck on Anaru's like ship. But thankfully that, it's like now he's just alone or something, which still, like, I feel like I wish there was more. Okay, there was nothing that knocked out Anaru in any ways, or at least kill him, because I feel like for that kind of viciousness, the same thing with Horty in some cases, like, from Fishman Island, like, they had to be stopped. They had to die because what is it? I don't know if I was spoiled, but I heard that literally nothing happened later after Anaru's, knockout, or after the Skypiea Island when Anaru just freaking flew away. It's like that's just it. That's it. There's certain enemies, I get it, you need them back or something, but you because nothing happened later. Did we see Anaru later? I don't know. I hope we don't see him again. God forbid, like, he go to another island and does the same thing. Because what he did to the freaking Skypiea Island, a freaking ball, a huge tire ball that is like 50 stadiums big, almost like a freaking planet, if it can be, electrocuted the whole entire island, destroyed it. But thanks to Luffy, it cleared out. But man, that it could have been that moment of like Judgment Day, of just like, yes, everyone's gotta die or stuff like that. But it's Skypiea held their hope, and they had this moment where they all pray. And I just knew deep inside this was like a very biblical like episode, the praying, or not really. I say that because I just finished Fishman Island with they have the Noah thing, the Noah ship, the big ship, if you know, you know. And yeah, you have all these angels praying, and pretty much they have like this person calling himself God, which is like a common thing. If you're like the ruler from an island up in the sky, you call yourself God, which is understandable, but you're not. And just like hoping that Anaru is stopped, because literally everyone tried everything. Wiper, the amount of sacrifices that Wiper's crew had, or the natives of the Up Yard, and also the Godfall tried his best. Shoot, Zoro tried his best, and also like just viciously like attack like Robin. That was like something that was uncalled for that Enru did. That's and just you know almost everyone take him down, especially Luffy. But it only took him a second time. It was like this guy's invincible, but also what is the point of having him around? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just my opinions of it. Other than that, Skypiea was a beautiful scene. And it really showcased like, what god you worship or something like that. It questions that because Anaru just doesn't care about them. Thanks to Konus's daughter actually just doing that. And also she was a treat as well of actually being like somewhat of a hero. And, I guess all these people that thought or fought Anaru in any way is a hero in pretty much their bravery. And I don't understand the enemies that Anaru's men has. There was literally no childhood. There was no empathy for Anaru. At least with the Fishman Island, with Hordy, like there is some relevance of childhood of like where he came from, but we don't see that at all from Anaru. It's almost like is he even human? Like where did he came from? Like what is Anaru? Who is Ano? You know what I mean? But other than that, yeah, that's just my thoughts and review of it. They escaped the island and got back and pretty much threw a party, little party or something like that. The flashback of Calgara between Calgara and Nolan was also memorable. Nolan actually, being sadly executed because, like he wanted to show the kings the island itself or the city of gold, but yeah, that just didn't happen at all because pretty much, it just disappeared and then he got executed and pretty much with sad face. And he was the first one to actually that is not a pirate that got executed. And it just like, this whole spiral of just like, me trying to think of like what's memorable or everything like that for this particular Skypiea itself, the land that it's set in, the understanding of history and the little biblical references that is behind it. The idea of praying and hope in general like that was also a treat to be had. And also just like the badassery of just like knocking these fools out, like Anaru and also his men. Like that was also fun as well. Just this whole episode. At first, like there's some parts where it feels a drag because that's basically like any One Piece that I ever talk about. But it always comes back into emotion, a momentum of just like, oh, we're continuing on. We're going to the next one and the next one. And it just builds up. It builds up from there. And like I like that, especially Godfall actually now already like pretty much okay, Tim I have Vince okay, get that out here. Pretty much like having Godfall to run, pretty much be there for the people once again. That was actually good as well. He was either gonna be president or like mayor. I think that would be easier task, but now no, he's God, which is actually busier. Like, this man just wants to have his like pumpkin patches, but he's back on the job. Other than that, I enjoyed this. It was action packed. Hopefully Anaru's dead somewhere in the future. I'll see you when I see ya. And other than that, that's just my talk about of like One Piece, and there's some stuff I missed, but what you want from me? One love and a peace.